Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 8, Episode 4, and today it's another big reunion on the channel as we're visited by Barnsley, our former side, who have made it to the Premier League after we gave them a flying start last season. We left them partway through the year to take up this brilliant opportunity at Newcastle, and that's proven to be the right choice as we're flying up towards the top of the league. Barnsley are managed by Danny Cowley, the Lincoln manager in real life, and this is going to be a fantastic game and probably a bit of a strange episode too, as we're going to be focusing just as much on the side we're facing as we are on ourselves. But first, let's get our news out of the way. Since you were last with me, we've had a few games off camera. The cup game was good, but the 3 league ones didn't go too well. We've only actually picked up 2 points in the 3 games since, so we drew 1-1 at home to Wolves, undoing nearly all of our hard work against Chelsea in the game on camera. Lavinas got a late equaliser. We absolutely dominated the game, but really lacked that cutting edge without Bernard up front. We then lost to Spurs 3-1. Horace Stewart, the Ballon d'Or winner, got a hat-trick. They've been absolutely flying since Tuchel got sacked and they got a new manager. I think it's Le Guen now who's taken over. Let me go and double check that. It is Paul Le Guen, a man who had an awful spell at Rangers a few years back in real life. I say a few years, it was over a decade now, but he seems to have recovered and he's right at the top of the game with Spurs. He'd been managing in Turkey before, it seems a big step up, but he's doing really well and he can't be argued with now. They're just a few points behind us in the league and I'm sure they'll be in their rightful position soon. We did get back to winning ways in the FA Cup though. A debutant scored a goal in that one after Ranzan and an own goal. They got a late consolation, but it wasn't enough to stop us getting through. We've drawn Derby at home in the 4th round, as you can see, so hopefully we'll be able to go on another FA Cup run. I'd love to get to the final again, and if we can avoid Spurs, we've got every chance. Then the side we got absolutely hammered by at the start of the season, Manchester United. We drew 1-1 in this one. We really fought back well in this game. I think it was 3-0 we lost in the home game back in August. It was indeed. That was on TV as well, so we've made amends with that performance. Ranzan getting the goal again, and we managed to get another point on the board. It leaves the table a little bit closer than it was previously. We've only got a 4-point gap back to Spurs in 7th and only a 5-point gap down to 9th place, so this dream of European football might have been promised too soon. We've kept our expectations as mid-table for the year, as it's really tight all the way down to 11th place. As I predicted a couple of episodes ago when we faced them, City are running away with the league. They're 7 points clear of United with 2 games in hand on them, and then 8 points clear of us and Chelsea with a game in hand on both of us as well. We're really missing our injured players at the moment. Bernard and Iwobi, our 2 stars, have both been out for a month, and we've really felt the pain of that as we've struggled in front of goal. If we look at the transfers, I'll introduce you to the one we've signed. There's a few others going on at the moment, but we've signed Mauricio Zia from Atletico Nacional, the Colombian side getting $575,000 out of that deal, and our director of football's done it again. A professional personality, 2.5-star ability, 5-star potential. He's gone out on loan to Nuremberg now after that tie, as again he's on a youth work permit and can't play in the league. He's a fantastic young pro, and our director of football's basically becoming an exploit. He's doing what we'd do if we had full access to the player search screen, and just signing all the wonder kids he can for the cheapest prices, and then waiting for them to develop into superstars. It's not a bad ploy, and if we don't have to do it, and our director of football is making the head coach series easier, we're certainly not going to complain on that front. In terms of outs, we've also had a big one on that side. We've loaned out Samuel Mulatieri. He's gone on loan to Sevilla for 200 grand a month. They're paying all of his wage as well. He wasn't really getting a chance for us. And Terence Congolo's on the way as well. 7.5 million up front with a bit more in the future. He was really starting to decline and we had to let him go. 100 league appearances for the club, so certainly made an impact, but he wasn't ever going to get back into the first team here. We've got a couple of moves that are in progress in a minute. The outs have all fallen through. Our director of football's either rejected them or just done nothing at all. We've got Patrick Roberts, who's been suggested as a potential in. 24 million the initial bid from the director of football. He's from Celtic, came through at City. Many of you will probably be quite familiar with that name if if you follow English or Scottish football. He's a really decent winger and can play on either side as well as the number 10 role, so would certainly fit our criteria for the positions we need cover, although I'm not quite sure he's the right player for us. We don't get a say in that though. If he accepts the offer, he'll be joining us. Marion Grange is the one that's coming next season. He was our first ever signing from the director of football, I think. He'd pre-agreed this transfer a long time ago and he'll be coming through next summer. Really looks a decent player at 16 and fingers crossed he keeps developing at his current club. But let's go and look at the league table and have a little look at Barnsley before we start. So one other thing we've got to do. They're 2 points adrift of Southampton in a relegation zone at the moment. Incidentally, Arsenal are still down there in 16th place. It's a really strange season in the Premier League this year. I know Spurs are recovering now, but some of the others just aren't. Tapia and Coman, 2 of the stars from last year, are out on loan, and I'm not sure the players they've bought in are better. Most importantly though, Joe Lumley in goal, he was a star for us. Tom Burton starting at centre-back for them, he continues to improve, and Niall Goodwin in the middle, what a player he was for us. He's doing okay in the Premier League, and hopefully he'll get a chance for England one day. The other players that are in there's a little bit surprising. They're playing a back 3 at the moment, or a back 5 in fact. Charlie Taylor's still there, as is Liam Lindsay, but Alex Jackson's starting for them at the moment, and he wasn't good enough to get in my championship team, so I find that a little bit concerning. They have got Ray and Tulloch up front though. He's electric quick and he's a decent finisher and dribbler as well. He scored a couple against us the first time we played and hopefully he won't be as dangerous today. But let's go and have a look at our lineup for the match. We're heavy favourites at home to a relegation threatened side, but anything could happen when the emotions are high playing against our former club. Let's go and have a look at the lineup. We've had the under 23 squad highlighted as we couldn't fill the bench with the first team. You can see Iwobi and Bernard are both coming back now, so he's got 9 days left, Iwobi. Bernard's got 6, so hopefully in a couple of weeks time they'll both be fully fit. But we're certainly a little bit thin on the ground now and could really do with our director of football making 2 or 3 signings. But the lineup's pretty much as you'd expect. We've got David Raya in goal, Matiju and Lewis the fullbacks with Konza and Lascelles in the middle, Douglas Luiz in the Segundo Volante role, Gilmore's in the middle of midfield as a playmaker, and then Oliviera, Arzani and Ranzan covering on the left as a 3-man attacking midfield behind Greenwood. We haven't got many options on the bench, particularly in attacking areas, only Lavinas and Sigurdsson to be called upon, as well as a keeper and lots of defensive players. So it's going to be a little bit tough if the starting players don't make an impact, but fingers crossed they'll be able to do it. Let's get into the game and play current club v former club. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Barnsley as well. I don't know why they were playing a back 5 in that last game. Maybe it was just for the FA Cup. But Goodwin, Burton and Lumley all start. Corley Woodrow's in up front. He's a player who did really well for us. Liam Lindsay's still the skipper, but there's 5 or 6 names we don't recognise there. So there's certainly been a lot of change at Barnsley. I'm just having a look on the bench as well. Only O'Neill, who we'd loaned out, and Charlie Taylor are the 2 I recognise. So we won't have anything to judge them on, only their performances today. Let's go and talk to the lads then. We want them to prove a point. They've not actually won in 3 Premier League games as we mentioned, so it's going to be really tough for us as well. I hate talking about transfers pre-match. What a stupid way to waste a tunnel interview. Woodrow takes the kick off for Barnsley. Ledson in the middle for Fortunis. He goes back to Lindsay, the centre half, and they've got the early possession and are bringing it forward. Over the top and headed away by Konza, and the highlight ends with no damage to our goal. But Konza's got a throw on the left. Why he was taking it, I've no idea, but we found Arzani in the middle. Bringing it forward, but goes back inside to Gilmore. Lewis on the overlap, the left full back into Greenwood. Good first touch, but he's forced back. Ranzan goes for the shot, but it's straight at Joe Lumley, who manages to hold it well. 3 minutes gone and we've had the first chance on target, but unfortunately it didn't lead to a goal. We'd really like to win this game and then for Barnsley to still stay up. Gilmore with a free kick 30 yards out. It was on the wrong side though and it went straight into Lumley's arms. We probably didn't need to see that highlight. We've got a throw on the left-hand side though. Arzani with the corner in, Goodwin gets it off the line. Ball's in again. I thought there might have been a shout for a penalty there, but the ball must have been won. Arzani goes back to Konza and we're starting to build a lot of pressure on this Barnsley side now. It's a shame to see them not performing well or playing in a formation that suits them properly. Oliviera gets the ball to Luiz. The Segundo Volante does it again. 4th goal of the season. I think he scored 2 of them on camera as well. He's been a hero so many times games for us, and I'm really starting to fall in love with that role. 1-0 to Newcastle, and it's entirely deserved. Matiju with a throw on the right. He finds Oliveira. This is starting to resemble the game against Chelsea in the last episode, a game with hundreds of highlights. That one was a brilliant end-to-end match. This one's a bit more of an onslaught by the home side, and with 20 minutes gone, we're completely comfortable. Lewis throws it into Oliveira. He gets it back again and finds Gilmour. The playmaker looks for that through ball. Ranzan gets it from him, but puts it wide at the post from the edge of the box. We're up to second as it stands, and we've got another free kick with Gilmour. It's blocked by the wall, but he's on the right-hand side. Burton heads as far as Ranzan. He gets it out to Gilmour on that right again. Got a chance to deliver, but it hits the first man, and it's behind for a corner kick with a quarter of the game gone. Gilmour's going to deliver an outswinger. Arzani goes up, but Lumley's strong in the air. He holds the ball comfortably. Ironically, when we left Barnsley in the middle of last year, it was about this time in fact, it was him who was wanted by Newcastle at the time, but since we changed the director of football when we came in, we weren't able to get him after that. It was our chairman's decision, so we had nothing to say, and it's a red card here for Barnsley. I'm getting completely distracted by that, and Charlie Taylor, another one of our former players, is on as a result of a red card to the left back. 10 shots to 0, and it looks like it's going to be a comfortable victory today. I'd like a second to wrap it up. We could then give the likes of Chapman some football, the youngster, but unfortunately it's not going to be that easy. Now they'll be sitting 9 behind the ball. Oliveira loses the ball and it falls for Lewis on halfway. Konza can build from the back, and we switch the ball to Arzani. We've got an overlap on the right from Matiju. He's now found by the winger. Back inside to Arzani again. Oliveira on the edge, goes back again, tricked everyone into thinking he'd shoot there, and now we're just keeping the ball beautifully on the edge. Gilmour finds Greenwood, turns and shoots, and Lumley makes a good save down to his right to tip it behind for a corner kick. 11th shot of the game, and we just need to get that second goal. Arzani to the back post. Greenwood wins the header, but it's straight into the arms of Lumley again, and unfortunately it just remains 1. We look completely dominant but aren't taking our chances, and this is the sort of thing that cost us against Wolves. 2 minutes to the break. It's Matiju on the right. Arzani to Greenwood, cuts inside a man. That looked an absolutely brilliant save. Just a fingertip to it by Lumley and tipped it behind for a corner. Arzani with an in-swinger again. Ranzan tries to get up, but Lumley's been really dominant in the air for them. Certainly been their best player, and we're unlucky it's only 1 at the break. There we go, then confirmation it is 1-0 at half-time thanks to the goal from Douglas Luiz. Cobble, the left-back for Barnsley, was sent off, and that means we've got another former player on, and as a result we're going to tell the lads to prove a point and hope they can get a second and third. Greenwood with the ball short to Oliveira. Gilmour out to Lewis on the left. He's challenged though. I'm sure the highlight will end in a second. It duly does, but we're coming forward again straight away. Oliveira coming through the middle. He finds Arzani on the right, gets to the byline, deflects to Oliveira, but it's blocked by Fortunis. Brilliant effort and brilliant block, but it's behind for another corner kick. An outswinger from Gilmour this time. He goes to Ranzan on the edge of the box. Back to Gilmour again. Delivers from the byline, but he was offside. That's really sloppy play from the two of them. Arzani with a free kick on the edge of the D. Woodrow blocks it in the wall. Straight back to Arzani again though. Gilmour in the middle. Switched it to Lascelles, who's out on the right. So much freedom as he finds Ranzan at the back post, but again it's a poor header straight into the arms of Joe Lumley. 5 minutes into the second half, and we've continued exactly where we left off. It's Gilmour with the ball in the middle for us. He finds Lewis. Back again with Douglas Luiz in that dangerous zone, but this one's deflected off Lindsay behind for a corner. It is relentless highlights. 19 shots to 0. Gilmour to the back post. Greenwood knocks it down. Taylor flicks it away, and now Goodwin charges out. Tulloch's making that run. They've still got that pace up front, so it's going to be disturbing. They're now playing a 5-3-1, but they only need one chance to get in behind. Tulloch's electric quick, and he put us to the sword last time we played. Arzani on the right hand side. He beats 2 men. So much space on the wing now. Greenwood gets on the end of it. Beats his man to it at the front post, but unfortunately headed it over the bar. An hour gone. It's still 1-0, but it's surely only a matter of time. Lewis on the left-hand side as we're back for another Newcastle attack. Still nothing from Barnsley, and Lewis on the left-hand side. In towards Lumley. It's a poor cross, and I have no idea why we saw that highlight. Simply a couple of passes and a cross that went straight into the keeper's arms. 20 minutes to go. Let's make a sub. We're going to bring Sigurdsson on the left-hand side, and the same for Lavinas on the right. If we can keep the width of a winger, especially as they're not playing with any width at all, hopefully that'll help us out towards the end. The last sub's going to be Gilmore. He's going to be replaced by Christian Rivera. We're going to put him as a central midfielder on the fend just to make sure we don't get caught by the ball over the top. 15 minutes to go though, and hopefully we can keep this lead. It would be a shame if Barnsley scored with their only shot of the game. As much as we enjoyed managing them, they've not deserved anything out of this one. Sigurdsson with a switch to Lavinas. He's just about going to keep it in. Let's scroll out a bit there so we can see the edge of the pitch. It's going to be cleared by Goodwin eventually, and it falls for Matiju on the right. He gets it inside to Douglas Luiz. He switches it to Lewis on the left. Back to Sigurdsson. Goes for the effort. What a save by Lumley. He has been absolutely sensational. And the 5-3-1 is just harming the away side. But we continue to attack. A poor corner this time though. Behind for a goal kick. And with 10 to go, hopefully we can hold on. I say hold on, but realistically it's whether we let Barnsley have a shot. Oliveira gets the ball to Lavinas. He shoots from the edge back to Matiju. It's blocked a couple of times. They're throwing their bodies on the line. Barnsley, still working as hard as they did when we were there. Rivera in the middle, 30 yards out. He finds Douglas Luiz. Out to Matiju on the right hand side, but his cross is blocked by Taylor and it's out for a throw on the right. How we've not scored another goal yet, I have absolutely no idea. At least 10 of those shots must be blocked because all of the other stats don't add up. On target and off target reach is less than 20, so there must have been a lot of bodies on the line for Barnsley. We're coming up to stoppage time. They still haven't had a shot on goal. Oliveira crosses to Lavinas. He's flicked it wide and it's a goal kick, and I will be absolutely mortified if we let in a goal. Sigurdsson crosses to the back post. Greenwood heads it wide this time. How many more are we going to get? 34 shots to none. At least it means Barnsley can't score, but this is absolutely devastating. How is it only 1-0? We're really missing Bernard, and particularly the left winger Iwobi. Sigurdsson cuts it back to Lewis again. Hopefully they'll just keep the ball and see it out now. Douglas Luiz, certainly been a star performer. Lavinas beats his man, but it's blocked again on the way into the box. Matiju for the second time behind for a corner, and this is surely going to be the last chance to add to our tally of 1. Sigurdsson with an outswing. Can he find a Newcastle head with the last chance of the match? The time's up. It finds Greenwood. He heads it over the bar again. For the amount of chances he's had, he's missed an absolute hatful, but we managed to hang on for a 1-0 win. Let's talk to the lads, tell them what we think about the game. We've told the lads we're disappointed. In truth, it was a really good performance. We just didn't have that cutting edge, and it shows how weak we are in attacking areas when we're missing 1 or 2 star players. Particularly the 2 best ones as we've got out at the moment. But let's go and see what the media have said about the game. Hopefully they'll agree we dominated. We secure victory. That's the most ridiculous shot wagon wheel I've ever seen. 35-0. There's no red on it at all. And we dominated the possession as well. The red card for the left back. He's not even as good as Charlie Taylor. I've no idea why they were starting him. But we don't need to worry about that. Now we're no longer in charge of Barnsley. We gave them the platform for Premier League football. Yes, they threw away the title but still came up. And we don't need to worry about what Cowley's doing there now. Even though it would be nice to see them survive. We'll deal with the press conference and go and praise Louise off camera in a minute, but let's go and look at the Premier League table. We're all the way up in 3rd place. I know all the teams have played a different amount of games, so it doesn't really give a clear picture at the moment, but one thing's for sure, we're going to be up in the top half, and that's all I could have asked for at the start of the year. If we can nick a top 7 place, I'd be absolutely delighted, and then fingers crossed that's enough to get us into Europe. A really strong season so far, and we're certainly doing far more than I ever could have asked for. I'd expect us and Arsenal to be the opposite way round, but I'm not going to complain with how it stands at the moment. Let's go and have a look at the schedule then. We hope we can get through the FA Cup 4th round next time out. We'll then play a few more games off camera. We'll either come back for a game around the end of February or the FA Cup 5th round if it's a big tie, but we'll leave it a few more games before we pop back for the next episode. We've got our youth intake to come at the start of March as well. Hopefully we'll get someone as promising as Chapman, but it doesn't always work that way, so we may be disappointed, but we're certainly not with the way this side's performing. Hopefully we'll have some more transfer news as well. Our director of football should be busy. It looks like Patrick Roberts is going to get over the line, and then he's got another 30 million left if he wants to add one more as well. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of our performance and how you think we're getting on. But more importantly, what do you think of the changes at Barnsley? They seem to be very defensive even before the red card. And what do you think of the fact they've replaced half of the players? Is there anyone we had there last year who you're devastated to not see in the lineup for them, or who you were surprised that they'd let go? The one for me was definitely Coman. He was scoring at 1 in 2 from the left wing, and I'm absolutely gobsmacked they let him go, especially with the players they were replacing him with. They weren't even as good. So very strange that, but I'm interested to know your thoughts and what you think about Barnsley's plight at the moment. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one The Head Coach, and in our other series with Torquay United, where we tried to take them from the lowest playable league to the top of English and European football. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series as always, and we'll see you next time for another massive episode.